Hey guys, happy Thanksgiving. This is the Newman Hour. I'm your host T. Predicting games for week 12. I'm not going to do a recap because it's too short a week. There's too many games going on Thursday, even though the Steelers game got moved. But yes, this is just going to be a one episode week. Happy Thanksgiving again. This is especially with times being the way they are. We just need to be more thankful for the people that we have, the people that care about us, the people who, take the time to, make our lives better, make an impact, just overall care about us. So please thank those that love you and return the favor. Jumping immediately into predictions, I went 6-7 last week, but I don't feel too bad about it. I think the games really went either way. I'm 70-34 for games I've picked this week. It's feeling good, feeling good. Thanksgiving games to start out. We have the Texans and Lions. Texans 3-7, Lions 4-6. I'm going to pick this fast. Texans are going to win because Deshaun Watson, and I can't pick the Lions anymore. Simple as that. The Lions, even if they showed up more against the Carolina Panthers, what Deshaun Watson was able to do against a Patriots defense that's been pretty good against quarterbacks, he killed, man. And Deshaun Watson, I thought about this over the week, and might be blasphemous, but I think Deshaun Watson could be better in the system of the Chiefs than Patrick Mahomes is currently. I think he might have a stronger arm, not as accurate, but a stronger arm than Mahomes, and he's better on the run. His decision making isn't as great, but I can think that comes down to coaching. I don't think Pat Mahomes' decision making wasn't as good as it is until Andy Reid got him. Because if you look in his college days, he was just bombs away. He had a lot of picks in college. So I think Andy Reid and having Alex Smith there, I think Deshaun Watson could have done the same exact thing and could have been better. So yeah, Deshaun Watson, in my eyes, could be better. I don't think he's a better player, but I think he could do more in that system than what Pat Mahomes is doing right now. Yeah, call me crazy. Call me crazy. So following that game, the only two games of Thanksgiving, because the whole COVID situation going on with the Ravens, the football team against the Cowboys. Now, this isn't as interesting just looking at these two teams, but they do have playoff implications in this game, so it does make it more interesting. And the Cowboys have played better as of late, and Alex Smith is the clear best quarterback for Washington, so it should be interesting. I'm hoping for a good game, but I'm going to take the Cowboys in this game. Washington has had opportunity after opportunity to separate themselves in the division, and they just haven't gotten it. Yeah, they've had kind of quarterback craziness going on, but they just haven't had the chances to separate themselves against teams that they should beat. Cowboys, they're kind of lingering around. Andy Dalton is back. This will be his second straight game coming back after injury. I think they can do the same thing that they did the Vikings to the football team. Yes, the football team may have a better D-line overall, but I don't think they have. I think they have pretty much the same secondary, and I think Andy Dalton was very much on point in that game. He was hitting targets. He didn't really have many bad decisions. The run game finally kind of got going. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Cowboys. Starting off the morning games for Week 12 on Sunday, we have the Raiders traveling to Atlanta, taking on the 3-7 Falcons. Raiders had an amazing game against the Chiefs, one of the games of the year. Carr was on point again. He clearly shows that he's ready for these Chiefs games, and I am excited to see what he can do down the stretch of this season. Normally, this would be a trap game for the Raiders, traveling cross-country against a pretty good Falcons team with a good offense against our bad defense. But I expect this team to play better defensively. I think with Cleve Farrell and LaMarcus Joyner back, I think we'll be able to control the ball long enough to where our defense isn't needed as much as it was in that Chiefs game. Falcons coming off a bad loss against the Saints. They really needed that win to keep their slim playoff hopes alive against a team starting a quarterback that nobody really knew about. And they didn't compete in that game. And I think this is just the downtread of the Falcons. They won a couple games, made it interesting for themselves, but I think they've come back down to earth. The running game isn't doing anything. Julio looks hurt, so I don't even know if he'll be in this game. Hopefully not for my Raiders. So yeah, I think this is a get-right game for the Raiders defense, and they should take care of business. Moving on to the Browns and Jags. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Browns 7-3, Jags 1-9. I don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Jags. Oh, they just mentioned it was Mike Glennon. So yeah, Browns all day. They're not as good as the record says, but they're getting it done. They're winning against teams they should win. They're losing against teams they should lose. They're going to be 8-3 after this, and according to my predictions, the Ravens are going to be 6-5, so they don't even have to worry about that tiebreaker. Browns are trending like a playoff team, but not really anybody that you would worry about. But I mean, they're laying under the radar, so we'll see how they play down the stretch. But yeah, I have the Browns winning. Next is the 6-4 Cardinals going against the 4-6 Patriots. This was a tough game to pick because looking at it on the surface, you would think, oh yeah, Cardinals should win this game. Kyler Murray's been on fire. Defense is kind of but they got Hopkins. Kenyon Drake is back. Edmonds has been doing his thing. But Cardinals, have lost games they kind of should win. They lost against the Lions earlier in the year. They lost against Miami. They kind of should have won that game. Patriots, they're not losing games. They're not winning games they should, but they're not losing games they should either. Cam Newton had a good game against a pretty bad Texans defense. Their running game is really getting it going with Damian Harris. It sucks that they lost Rex Burkhead for the year, but I think they're gonna surprise, and I think this will be an upset. I have the Patriots winning against the Cardinals. I just don't think that Kyler will be able to do what Deshaun Watson was able to do against this Patriots secondary. I think they'll see what happened with Deshaun Watson, and then they'll make adjustments for Kyler. They're not going to let him get out of the pocket, and we'll see how the Cardinals respond. Next up is the Chargers at the Bills. I normally would pick the Bills, even though I'm not a fan of their quarterback, but the matchup goes really well for them. I don't know if John Brown will play this game. It looks like he won't, and I think he's crucial for this offense because they don't have any running game. And the Chargers defense, or especially their secondary, has been suspect for most of the year. But I am going to take the Chargers. I think that Justin Herbert can match up and score point for point with Josh Allen, and that the Chargers defense is more likely to make a play than the Bills defense. The Bills defense has been atrocious this year. They were tops in scoring last year. They are terrible this year. I'm surprised nobody's talking about it. That's what's making them not a real contender. They have a really good offense, but their defense is a huge liability. More than the Raiders, I could say. I mean, they have better names on the Bills defense, but they're not showing up at all. Moving on to another game involving AFC East teams, we have the Dolphins at 6-4 against the 0-10 Jets. Dolphins lose a disappointing game in Mile High against the Broncos. They benched Tua in the fourth quarter for Ryan Fitzpatrick. It almost worked, except Fitz did what he does, and he threw a pick in the end zone to close out the game. Gaskin, the rookie running back for the Dolphins, should be back. I don't know if that makes a huge difference. Right now, Akbed was kind of playing well, but, still a bell cow for that offense to run the ball. The Jets, they played competitively against the Chargers. I'll give them that. But having a better defense than the Dolphins, I expect their offense to show up. And I think the Dolphins take this. The Jets may keep it close, though. They're not going to get blown out like they did last time. It's not going to happen like that. Moving on to another low-record team game is the Giants going against the Bengals. Bengals, man. Losing Joe Burrow the way they did, that sucks so bad. And I saw something about Booger McFarland was suggesting that maybe Burrow should wait until the 2021 season or start for the 2022 season and miss the 2021 season. And that makes sense. I mean, he's your quarterback for the future. He's proven that in the games that he's played. He's clearly the franchise quarterback moving forward. So it kind of makes sense. Why not have you're probably not going to play as well, and it sucks for players like veteran players because you have a star quarterback and you want to play well and be in the playoffs. But I think for the long-term success of this franchise, I think it makes sense because they're going to get a high pick this year, And if Burrow doesn't play again next year, they're going to have another high pick. Solidify the team. Get a real squad around this guy, and he can take you far. I don't know if it'll happen. He is getting hurt mid-season, so he's not. I don't think he's. There's no chance. I don't think he's going to start at the beginning of the 21 season. And maybe depending on how the season goes up to that point, they might not even bring him back. I mean, he's a competitor, so I'm sure he'll want to, but I think the franchise should be smart and, evaluate the situation when he is healthy to come back. But going into this game, I think the Giants were on a bye week, and now they're facing the Bengals after beating the Eagles, key matchup. If Joe Burrow was playing, this would be a much tougher game to pick, but since Brandon Allen, I think, is the starter for the Bengals, I think that the Giants should win pretty convincingly. They have a good defense, so they should take advantage of a inexperienced quarterback starting for the Bengals. So yeah, taking the Giants. Next up is the Panthers and Vikings. I want to shout out P.J. Walker, guy from the XFL. He had a nice game in his first start against the Lions. Had some ugly picks, but with inexperience, kind of take those for what it is. He's a talented quarterback athletically. Could he be a starter someday? Maybe. He showed a lot of talent in the XFL. He showed a lot of glimpses in this game against the Lions. So yeah, he can get himself a shot somewhere maybe. I would love that. A guy who kind of was at the bottom and kind of worked his way up to prominence. You love those stories. But I'm going to take the Vikings in this game. They dropped a critical one against the Cowboys last week, and I could see this being the nail in the coffin for their season if they lose this game. So I think they'll play better. I think they might play their best game of the year. They need to, against a good Panthers team. Moving on to the next game is the Titans and Colts. This is a good game. This is gonna be a crucial game. They played like 2 weeks ago on Thursday night, so Titans still got that taste in their mouth from that ugly loss. Colts have been playing their best football all year, and that's why I'm going to take them winning this game at home. They came back against the Packers last week. Titans, they came back against the Ravens, but they match up really well against the Ravens, and I don't think they match up as well against the Colts. Colts D-line did a good job of limiting what Derrick Henry can do, and this is in the Dome, so it's not as cold where Derrick Henry thrives. I think the Colts win this. I think Phillip Rivers is playing mistake-free football, and I think he'll carry that on to the playoffs. Will he do anything in the playoffs? We'll see. But this is a dangerous team. They're playing their best football, like I said, and yeah, I think they're going to sweep the Titans and take a stranglehold on this division. Last of the morning games, at least I'm counting this as a morning game. They haven't said what time this game will be played, but I'm assuming that they will play this in the morning. Ravens traveling to the Steelers. Steelers are big mad about this game being moved. And I get it, because they already had to forcibly take their bye week early in the season when the Titans had their COVID issue, and now another team that doesn't have their COVID issues in check. Now they have to move again, and the Steelers have been fine all year. I haven't really heard anything about players getting COVID on that team. They've won every game. I don't know what to feel about the Steelers team. They look like they could go undefeated. I don't see a game that they should lose on the schedule, but I see every game they could lose. I'm not picking against the Steelers for the rest of the year. So yeah, Lamar Jackson is letting me down. The defense isn't as good. It reminds me of the Saints early in the year where it looked like Kamara was their best player and everybody else had taken a step back, but it seems like they've kind of caught up with him throughout the year. And I see the same thing with the Ravens, even though it seems like nobody stepped up really. The defense isn't as good, even with the added pieces like they've had with Patrick Queen, Calais Campbell, and the like. But yeah, this team is just clearly taking a step back, and it could be that everybody's trying to play their best football. This is the MVP. This is the team that had the best record in football last year. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the Colin Kaepernick thing with Greg Roman. Greg Roman killed it with Colin Kaepernick early, and then it kind of fizzled out really quickly. So maybe that's the same thing happening now. Lamar Jackson got to get better, man. Got to get better if you want to stay in this league. Life comes at you quickly, bro. Starting off the afternoon games, we have a good one with the Niners and Rams. Rams getting a big win against the Bucks on Monday nights. They're playing on a short week. Niners are coming off a bye. If Jimmy G, I know surprisingly, I don't think he makes that big of a difference, but if Jimmy G was in this game, I would pick the Niners, especially with Mostert coming back. But the Rams are playing well. The Rams defense is playing consistent, which I don't think they're overall talented as much as like other defenses, but they are playing very consistent, and they have two studs on their defense with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. I think the Rams take this. Next afternoon game, we have the Saints and Broncos. Now, I think this is a trap game for the Saints. You know, they're riding high with, oh, man, we put our backup quarterback and he's killing it. Man, this conference is ours. This team is on fire. You know, they're living on cloud nine right now. But the Broncos, they beat a very good Dolphins team. They're at home. Drew Lock played much better against a pretty good Dolphins team. And I think the Dolphins defense is pretty comparable. I don't think they're as good as the Saints defense, but they're comparable. And the Saints defense, or the Saints offense, is playing a much better defense in the Broncos compared to the Falcons. And I think the Broncos defense matches up very well with the Broncos offense. I mean, the Saints offense. I don't think they're going to slow down the offense completely, but you saw the play style and the play calling was much different with Taysom Hill in for Kamara. Kamara wasn't nearly as explosive as he usually is, and I think that the Broncos secondary will do a much better job than the Falcons at covering Michael Thomas, especially watching the film and seeing how much Taysom Hill was just straight up targeting Michael Thomas at all times. So I think that the Broncos will have a good game plan. I think Vic Fangio knows what to do. And I think the Broncos win. I think they win in an upset, especially in Mile High. I think this is going to be a too big a test for the Saints. Next up, they should have swapped the Sunday night game for this one. The Chiefs and Bucks. Chiefs coming off a big win against the Raiders. Bucks coming off an ugly loss on Monday night, so they are playing on a short week. But I think the Bucks win this game because that has been their trend all year. Every time they've had a bad loss to make everybody question whether they're really a contender or not, they bounce back with a huge win. It's happened with almost all their losses. Chiefs, I mean, they haven't had a bad game all year. Even that game they lost against the Raiders earlier in the year, it wasn't a bad game. They just lost. That was it. And I don't see how they could lose, but I'm going to take the Bucks because, one, I want the Chiefs to lose, and two, the trend of Brady bouncing back after a primetime loss is the trend of the year. So, enough said about that. Sunday night. This is a kind of a dud of a game. Bears and Packers. I mean, I can see the Bears winning, but even if they do, it's not an interesting game. This does have very big playoff implications, especially for the Packers if they want to try to still get that number one seed. They have the tiebreaker with the Saints, so if they can win this game, and if the Broncos win like I predicted, they should be number one in the conference, and that's huge for them. So yes, I'm going to take the Packers, but the only reason I'm taking the Packers is because they haven't lost back-to-back, and the Bears' offense is nothing. So I think they win closer than it should be. Yeah, I think the Packers bounce back from their ugly loss against the Colts. Hopefully, Valdez does not fumble the ball, nor does Darius Shepard. They should have cut that man. No offense to Darius Shepard. Last game of the Thanksgiving weekend, we have the Monday Night Football game. The Seahawks and Eagles. This is a rematch of the wild card game from last year. Seahawks look like a better team than they were last year, even though their defense isn't as good. And the Eagles look far from the team that they were on that run last year. You know, I think they won like 4 or 5 straight to get in the playoffs, winning the division. I don't know. I expected the same thing this year, but they're just letting me down week after week. Carson Wentz, I know you have the talent. I don't know what the problem is. I think it's the play calling. They're not setting you up for success. Yeah, too many turnovers, bad loss against the Browns. Yeah, man. They haven't targeted Fulgham. Really trying to get Rieger in the game. I don't know what to make of this team, but with Seahawks playing improved defensively. I'm going to take the Seahawks. I just don't see the Eagles scoring enough to win. They're guaranteed to have a turnover. They've had a turnover in I'm pretty sure every game, and I think the Seahawks will take advantage of that, and they'll play mistake-free football. So yeah, I think the Seahawks will take that, and that's going to close out the picks for Week 12. Once again, happy Thanksgiving to you all. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Have a good weekend. Eat your heart out, but pace yourself. You don't only eat once in that day. So I hope you guys all have a good Thanksgiving, and I will see you guys next time.